talking. He's so honest, but he always gives so much. That was really enjoyable. And he said that, of course, he's going to go and look at the top of the table, but a bit of tactical nous, doing the dirty work, sprinkled with team spirit, and that's why they are top of the table.
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting to see him talking about that sort of stuff and giving so much out, because, again, we all know what Brendan Rodgers is about. We all know his tactical nous and everything, but seeing it come out on the pitch and seeing him talking about it as well, and the hard work, the dirty work he's talking about, the getting in and amongst them, outworking your team and playing, then winning the ball back and playing the way that he wants them to play. Playing in different formations as well. It's tough. We actually did it. We played 4-4-2 when we were in possession and 4-4-1-1 when we were out of possession. But it's difficult because you've got to have the understanding from your whole team. But it's great to see them doing it as they do it during the game.
Great insight, wasn't it, as well, from James Maddison there? Some of the things he was saying, talking about the set pieces. I actually wondered, we were looking at the set pieces before the game and we noticed that Leicester were bottom with none. And I was wondering whether that would get credited as a set piece today, with it being a short corner, a couple of passes, a bit of a miss kick. But it looks like they've credited Leicester with their first set piece goal. And it was a good one to start with because it was right off the training pitch. Very good team goal. Everyone disciplined, understanding. You see, don't you, coaches at the side of the pitch with their iPads and telling players where to go, what to do. Well, this is it. It's in the detail. And we see the strike. It's not the cleanest of strikes, but hey, when they hit the post and go in, rarely is the clean strikes. You see the interchange of positions here. We circle the player. Is it Harvey Barnes that's supposed to be shooting? And this is the only bit that goes wrong. It's that. But anyway, when you've got Ndidi backing up, then you've got another chance at it. But brilliant goal, Emile.
Yeah, and then Castagna pinning the man there, allowing them to have a 2v1 here, and Mark Albrighton sees it, stays on side, and then just checks inside, and Maddison, great ball into him, but then the insight to actually pick the pass off, and then Ndidi's strike as well.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely love that goal. And you know, it's people wonder what players do all week. You know, they say, oh, we work on things on the training ground, but it's really nice when you see something like that come off, because their general play is absolutely outstanding. I mean, how good it is on the eye, but they've still got the time as well on the training pitch to take their time, to get the concentration of all the players, because don't just think that it's Ndidi that scored that goal or the player, Albrighton, that's passing it. There's Johnny Evans that had a hand in it. There's Castagna that had a big hand in it. There's other players that are shifting. They're all trying to create a space. One's moving out for one to go in. It's a team goal, that, even though it might appear only one or two players involved.
So much, of course, that went into that goal. Let's look at 2-0. And James Maddison scored this one, his 6th of the season. Yeah,
it was a direct kick. And I loved staying offside from goal kicks and just trying to go and attacking. That's what Jamie Vardy did. But he goes into there, and again, I think this is what Maddison was talking about, where Frank Lampard used to do, where he's taking that chance of what we're talking about here. Was it Jamie Vardy being offside? Used to love all this, going and trying and winning the ball. But he doesn't stand and admire. He gets into the box here after, and Maddison goes in behind him, and I think it's Reece James leaves him, and then you end up having the ball on all alone and being able to finish.
And watching them today, Michael, they just look like a team that have so much belief and such team spirit, as Mad has pointed out.
They have. They've got lots. It's what comes first, isn't it? If you're playing well, then all of a sudden it's easy to have belief and confidence in yourself. And that has to stem from the manager. I mean, you've got two teams there. You look at them on paper. In fact, look at their transfer fees. That's the best indication of all. I mean, there's no question Chelsea have got the best squad in terms of player for player. However, if you're watching that game, there's no way you can say, that Chelsea are a better team on that evidence. Leicester have looked so much more dangerous. They've got so much more pace and energy and everything. A plan. It looks as if, they work on a way of playing. If you ask me now, what do Chelsea try to do? I can't really say, they're a build-up team, or they're a counter-attacking team, or they've got energy. I don't really still know what they are. Whereas Leicester, wow, it smacks you in the face. They're brilliant. So Brendan Rodgers, no doubt, will be extremely pleased with today's performance because his team are top of the table. But how does Frank Lampard reflect on today's performance?
Frank, just how disappointing was that defeat and the manner of it?
Got beaten by a better team. Thought they were sharper than us, ran more than us. showed moments of quality, looked like a team in form, we looked like a team out of form. First goal disappointing from a set piece. Second goal poor defending from us. And it's really difficult to come here when you're 2 down.
Were you just not alive, do you feel, for that first period for both goals?
Yeah, sleeping moments, yeah, but I thought it was quite a lot of moments in the first half where our sharpness wasn't there. Sometimes that relates to poor form when players are not playing so well, but those are moments that you've got to dig in, and the basics and the bare minimums are to run and to sprint and to cover ground, and too many of our players didn't do it.
Is that the most disappointing aspect, that the players didn't do the basics tonight in parts of the game?
Yeah, you can break the game down afterwards. The most disappointing thing is to come here and lose a game. I know Leicester are a very good team. They can beat anyone. They're in good form at the moment. But yeah, the basics of the game off the ball are important. Our game on the ball was okay at times, a bit slow. They made it difficult for us and we were content to go backwards. We created a few little opportunities, probably a little bit unlucky. I thought it was a penalty on the edge of the box. I've seen them given recently, but I'm not going to lean on a decision like that. Our game wasn't there.
If Saturday was a welcome step forward, was this another step backwards?
Yeah, it's a loss, Jeff. It's just a loss. And, we won against Fulham without playing brilliantly. We dug in a little bit, showed some character, played okay. But then from that, you come and lose a game here again. So, yeah, it's a small step backwards, clearly.
How worried are you about the slump at the moment? That's 5 losses out of the last 8.
Yeah, worried. I mean, I think it's, from the form that we were in to get so quickly into the form that we're now in, even with the Fulham win, and we've had some wins in that, but we should be better than that. 5 losses in 8, that's not where we want to be, of course. It takes character to turn from that. It takes character. We're quite a young team today, so they won't be feeling nice. I'm not against the lads in the dressing room there, because they're disappointed, and then they learnt a lesson about a team that are playing well and sharpness that comes with it. We were that team a month ago. We were flying against Leeds, energy, bundles of energy, quality, everything about us, and it's a big lesson for some of the players in there that if you come off it, if you think that you're fine, all of a sudden you think you realise you've got a lack of confidence, you've got a lack of maybe a little feeling to run, because that comes alongside confidence, and you've got to get yourself out of that hole. There's quite a few players in the team that got to get themselves out of that hole.
That will be down to you. You've already faced questions about your future. How much do you expect that to intensify off the back of this?
Of course. It intensified for me a while ago, because expectations at this club, whether they're right or wrong, are always high. I know we're in a different position now with the squad. If you look at our squad today and the age in our squad, and look for our season, the composition of our squad, it's a mixture of a young squad, a lot of players, some new players. And I keep talking about transition, but when we perform like that, it's normal that people will ask questions.
Nobody knows this club better than you. Are you totally confident the owner will have patience with you and stick with you?
It's not my decision, Jeff, and that's something that will always be there. When I came into this job, or the job of management, you always understand that some things are beyond your control. Things that you can control are going again, trying to lift the players and trying to work hard. So that I can't answer.
Are you in a bit of a quandary now as to how you get out of this slump? Because you want to try something different to change the results, but you don't want to change too much.
No, I don't think it's... we're not talking huge change in terms of system. I think if you go pound for pound, Leicester player against Chelsea player tonight, they were better than us, they were sharper than us, they had more confidence than us, they played forward more than us, they made more clinical decisions on the ball than us. That doesn't matter what formation you play, the game can be pretty much a match-up when both teams are playing 4-2-3-1. Sometimes it becomes down to you against your man. We lost individual battles all over the pitch. Those are the basic rules of football, so I'm not looking to change wholesale structure. Players in there, me, as you just quite rightly said, takes the responsibility, have to improve because where we were, 2 points off the lead, everyone lauding us, we're not there now. So we have to certainly regroup individually as a club and move forward.
Well, he mentioned the fact that they were in a great run of form not too long ago, and he's not wrong. A month ago, this team were flying. On the 5th of December, Chelsea actually went top of the table after beating Leeds. But the 8 games that they've played since that time tell you the story. In those 8 games, Chelsea have picked up 7 points, whilst Leicester City have picked up 17 points. And that really tells you where the turning point happened in their season. And of course, the rise and fall of both of these teams, well, this tells you the story once again. Interestingly, Leicester have been pretty much more consistent, Emil, when we look at that graph. But for Chelsea, why do you think it has changed so dramatically?
I don't know. Again, it's going by what he's just spoke about there, and he's talking about the basics. When you're a player, you've got to earn the right to to go out on that pitch and no one's going to give you anything. No one's going to lie down and let you play. 1v1, you against that opposition, you've got to earn the right to play. If he's gonna bully you, push you around, you got to push him back. You got to kick. You've got to challenge. And we didn't really see much of that. And that's probably what he was talking about. Them little basic things that you ask of your players, and you've seen it in Leicester, but you didn't really see it from Chelsea.
Do they just not know what they're doing? Is there no plan? Do you think there needs to be better direction? What do you put it down to?
Well, it's interesting. I sympathise with Frank Lampard in a way, and I think he hit the nail on the head. With players, there's a mentality that you go and win a few games on the spin, which Frank Lampard did. It was only a month or so ago, as that graphic just showed. And everything comes easy. It does. When you're winning, everything comes easy. But you've got to realise what's bringing you these results. And don't think, right, now we've cracked it, now we can just go onto the pitch and it works for us. We're all better players than them and things like that. It doesn't. You have to, the golden rule, you've got to run and run and run and outrun your opponents and at least match them. Because if you don't do that, then the skill element counts for nothing. You have to match them in every dirty aspect, let's say. The dirty things like closing down, like blocking, like matching people's runs, like, getting pushed like Emile says and giving it back. It's the dirty things that get you the result. And I think Chelsea have come away from that now and just think that it's all a matter of skill can win a game. But they're totally out of sync today. We've seen that. We've got so many different sort of runs of that. You see there the timing of the run from Abraham and the timing of the pass, not quite there. Movement's pretty poor. There's a ball in to split the lines here. If that was Maddison, Leicester would be pinging it into his feet, getting him turned, and all of a sudden, Jamie Vardy would be on his bike, Emile.
Again, yeah, but again, it's like they would have worked on this in training. So that run into that space, it was just ambled into there. He didn't really make a real forceful movement. Here is a forceful movement, but it's just too early. There's no real good timing on it. There's nothing in this, and it just seems like they're all out of sync for Frank and Chelsea at this moment in time.
Well, you've both been relied upon for goals in your respective teams in your playing days. Do you think this team need to better work to the strengths of whoever the centre forward is? For example, if it's Tammy, Giroud, if Werner's on the pitch, does it change? Do they need to do that part better?
Well, I think if you look at different teams, they're all strong in different ways. Leicester do rely on pace and hitting on counter-attacks, and they've got Vardy. You look at someone like Tottenham, very much reliant on their top two. I don't think Chelsea are a team that necessarily rely on just their centre-forward, because that man can be anybody. It can be Giroud, Abraham, as you've said, Werner. It can be a lot of different players. I think they rely on the collective. I think the fullbacks are used quite a bit in terms of attacking weapons. I think they've got some fantastic number 10s like Pulisic. Havertz has still got to get used to the league. He's obviously a class player. But I think they rely on more of a team effort. And the team is failing at the moment. It's falling down. We've seen some examples there. And we've also seen throughout the season, the highs and lows that they've had. So we know that they can do it. It's not like Frank Lampard's had a steady stream of poor results. They've had some unbelievable results, reached the summit for a brief period of time, but now they're in a slump, and now it's really hard to get out of it.
We talk about the team. If the team is constantly changing week in, week out, how can they ever get that level of consistency? They've made the third most changes in the league behind Manchester United and Newcastle. Could that be the problem, Emile?
For me, that is one of the problems. As a player, we've played in teams where you want to as a player, you want to play. It doesn't matter how many games you're playing, you want to play.
But do you want to play with the same team?
The same team. Because that consistency and that relationship that you build, that helps you go ongoing. But when you keep coming out, you're coming out for one game and then you're going back in for two. Then you're coming out for 3 games, you're going back in for 1. You can't build up that consistency and that relationship as well. And obviously now I'm coaching as well. You get to see it from that side as well. Interesting,
really interesting. Have you ever been in a team that's where a manager or where the club have brought in a huge influx of players and where it sort of disrupted what you've known?
Well, I think we were in a generation when resting players first came in. I mean, when we probably were both younger, 14, 15-year-olds, there was only 2 subs, and things like that. So there was never really any rotation. It was only around the turn of the century where this word resting players was sort of brought in, and I hated it. I mean,
I bet you did.
I'm not going to lie. I didn't like it when the manager said, don't worry, I'm going to rest you for this one because you're going to play the next two. That's not enough. I want to play everyone. So that was my mindset. But that's not to say it's the right mindset. And we're 20 years on now, and these squads are big. Man City, massive quality squad. Chelsea, massive quality squad. Man United, massive quality squad. Now, other teams go the other way. You know, you look at a team like Liverpool, for example, Leicester, you know, they very much play the same team every week, give or take 1 or 2 places. Same shape, same team, virtually every week. So there are different ways of doing it. Yes, you could justify that saying, well, Man City are going to last longer because they're not relying so much on the big players. And also, if Man City got 4 or 5 injuries, I would still say they're still going to be the same next week. When Liverpool get 4 or 5 injuries, then I think, oh no. Now, that's the advantage of being a Chelsea, a Man City and whatever, having a big, big squad. The disadvantage, it costs a fortune, very difficult to manage, lots of big stars. And the other thing is, how do you get that continuity, which is obviously a question. So there's pros and cons in them both. Chelsea have made their bed, now they've got to lie in it, and now Frank Lampard has got to work with that big squad, keep everyone happy and get results.
And I guess now the preparation is on what comes next. Their next 6 games, well, it doesn't look like there's an easy game in any of that, because Wolves and Burnley at home